Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we are back at it again with another Prydwen tier list update for version 3.2. And before I even get into the changelog and before I even get into what's actually, what the new classifications, the new updates are, I need to show you all something that is probably going to piss you off. Yes, this is really going to piss you off, and this is probably going to be the explanation for the title and the thumbnail and all of that. Yes. This is what the Tower of Adversity tier list looks like for tier 0, ladies and gentlemen. It is Amith, who's not very surprising to see her there, and a man. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I'm already seeing messages in chat without even looking at the changelog, without even looking at the reasoning for the shifts. People are already saying that they did not cook, right? People are already saying that there was already some massive mistakes that have been made over here, and that is making the player base extremely upset. And so, kind of like going down a little bit, you're going to see more and more characters pop up, some in surprising positions, others in positions that might not make sense to a lot of you, and this is probably the one that's going to piss the most people off, seeing their queen, Cardathea, all the way down in tier 1, and their other queen, Zoni, over in tier 1.5. I see people say that they used a randomizer, all of that. And so our goal for today is to break down, see what the reasoning, what the rhyme is for how all of this stuff ended up in all of these different categories. And then naturally from there, talk a little bit about how valid these changes are, what the differences are going to be for the future, and of course, some other supplementary materials like this team tier list over here to help round out the discussion. And just letting you guys all know in advance, I've already had a bit of a conversation with the curator of this tier list, Sweat, and I'm fully aware of the viewpoint that they're taking, and so that's why we're naturally not going to be doom posting this right off of the bat. But I did want to address the likely panic that many individuals are undergoing right now. So, Sweat's actually here in the chat. I think, I'm already gonna put Prydwen ruin woo-wah, or like, Prydwen messed up in the thumbnail, because you already know, like, I think you already admitted that you knew this was going to be a little bit spicy, but it does make sense. So without further ado, let's go ahead, let's start breaking this all down, take a look at the changelog, because that's going to be where the main reasoning is going to come from over here. So, 19th of March. I really don't like it when Europeans make stuff like this. Major changes again today. For Sigrika's release, we decided to clarify the blurry line between the individual tier list and the team tier list. It was difficult to explain the purpose of keeping both tier lists when the team tier list made more sense to paint the picture of the woo-wah meta in terms of team-based performance. So right off of the bat, we have like already the reason for why the tier lists have changed. It's because the team tier list is over here, but I'm not sure if half my chatters can read. Yeah, did you guys look at this? Did you guys look at this one too? I'm just wondering. Did you guys look at this one as well, or did you only look at one in isolation and just not read the changelog? Oh, that makes sense. Why Card is in the Shadow Realm. Reading is gay. Yeah, that kind of explains why there's such a visceral reaction to this tier list in chat. Since the individual tier list was also performance focused but had less precision than the team tier list, it was essentially useless in comparison. So this is the argument that is being brought forth, ladies and gentlemen. If you're judging characters based off of their individual performance, but some characters only work well with others and certain combinations of characters are really, really, really good, then that results in, well, both tier lists being kind of the same, and one tier list is just going to give the full picture, while the other one only gives a fragmented view. Amith, for example, has like 2 teams that are in tier 0. Or sorry, she has one team in tier 0, and then she has another team in tier 0.5. Are there any other units that have that? No, not really, right? Oh, they kind of don't actually have that going on. And so that's where kind of like the difference is, ladies and gentlemen, because it's a recognition of who's in the highest performing teams, who shows up the most. And if a character shows up a lot in the highest performing teams that is constantly an option, then naturally they should show up higher in the value tier list, which is more so what the new ToA tier list is focused on right now. The team tier list will still be an experimental project and only seen on the end field section. Wait, Prydwen has an end field section? Hey, just abandon it, bro. Just delete it from the website. You know nobody's playing that game no more. The fuck? Just delete it. Yeah, we do. Yeah, I'm telling you, just for the sake of, just delete that shit. What the fuck? Like, bro, the end game has a 10-second timer. You could go in with Ember and a Slim Jim and clear. Anyways, we decided to take the leap and essentially rework the very criteria. Hey, I'm not in charge of it, my guy. Yeah, it's just my fucking my condolences to whoever is. It's like, yeah, you're being asked to judge the meta of a game that has no meta. Anyways, we decided to take the leap and essentially rework the very criteria of the individual tier list from scratch. TLDR, the individual tier list is now value focused, not performance focused. I will say this is slightly confusing wording because a character's value is based off their performance. Do you see what I mean here? Like a character's value is inherently tied to their performance. So it's kind of like, I feel like we could revise this a little bit to like indicate that. We have a very precise definition of what makes the value of a character, and we updated all of our tier list information and criteria to fit the definition accordingly. If you disagree with this change or the criteria we use, we strongly recommend you refer to the team tier list, which is solely performance focused as the individual tier list was before this. Now that these major changes have gone through, the tier list below essentially looks nothing like it used to be. And we recommend, if you want more details on how exactly we graded characters, to read the, albeit very nerdy and lengthy, updated information and criteria sections. Alrighty, are we good here, guys? Have we fully understood? Are we fully understanding what is going on? The team tier list is going to give you an overall look at what the strongest teams are in the game. And a character's value should probably be tied to how many times they show up very highly on this team's tier list. One example, right, is Lene showing up in tier 0. That's because she's here, like here, there, and you kind of see what's going on, right? She's showing up very frequently, and she's showing up very often. And that's going to be one of the big sort of like key differentiators over here. And similarly, right, Ameth has the best team in the game, blah, blah, blah. And another piece of value, right, when it comes to a DPS character, can they use homeless units and still clear? For example, Luke might show up in tier 0 because he can use homeless units and still clear. Bro, he's like high tier with San Hua and Shorekeeper. And in some situations, you can sometimes get like faster clears with them, just depending on, like, you know, how lucky you get with crits, because the rotation with the San Hua is way faster than with the Lene. Blah, 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 all of that stuff. So yeah, that's going to be the differences over here. Hopefully that makes sense, and hopefully the breakdown is a lot more clear for people. Once again, please note, this is highly experimental, and we likely didn't get a perfect result on the first try. Please provide feedback to help us make this idea insightful for players who are confused on what's most worth their asteroids for them to progress smoothly and quickly into endgame content. And we, of course, added Sigrika according to this new criteria as well. Okay, how do I get there? Is this a... Oh, is it here? Criteria and roles? Is this where I was supposed to look? Good fucking God. Okay, so this entire criteria and roles thing has been updated. Okay. All right. Let's start breaking this one down then. So, starting off with the criteria. All characters are assumed to be played with rotations used as our baseline for calculations without input mistakes, using the best Echo main sets and the correct ER values. Makes sense to me. They're making sure that there's like a controlled variable in whenever you're using certain units. Makes sense to me. This means the overwhelming majority of rotations will be executed in a simplistic, one character at a time manner, save for expert tag units. So what they're basically saying over here is there's no quick swap. Yes, we're not factoring in quick swap at all unless an expert tag is added on the unit, and then you'll see the according increase in their rating as a result of incorporating that tech. All characters are okay, blah blah blah, all of that, whatever. Okay, this is just all characters are using gold echoes. Oh, great. I wonder who's taking purple echoes into the ToA. All echo main stats are the best in slots. Each echo is assumed to have 5 substats with average roll values. 14 echo substats are designated as good, and they would want them, while 11 are random and don't really actually help their build. I'm assuming that this just means it's double crit on every echo, and then 4 additional good damage substats, and then the rest are dog shit. So basically, you have a 3 out of 5 on most pieces, and then a 2 out of 5 on one of them. which I think is fair. I don't think that's that big of a deal. I think that's a safe assumption. Yeah, most of my characters are pretty bad. 5-star characters are all rated at sequence 0 unless stated otherwise, such as Rover, who has S6. 4-star characters are rated at sequence level 6, and they might have a tag or two that shows how much they drop. Okay, yeah, we all know that. And all characters are assessed as if they have access to R5s of all 4 weapons, of all 4-star weapons, R5s and whatever, and R1 of the standard 5 Winter Broom and Synth Armament weapon series, which can be permanently acquired. Additionally, all characters have access to any weapons permanently accessible for free, such as Blood Pack's Pledge, blah, 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 all of that. Any of such weapons do not give any penalties, and signature weapons may be given to units who strongly benefit from them at the slight penalty of an added cost. The best out of all these choices, after including the penalties, is used for their assessment. And this is where stuff can get a little bit interesting, right? There are some characters that don't really feel functional at all without their signatures. For example, Cardathea really wants her Sig. Brant also really wants his Sig, because this is a DPS hybrid healer unit that scales off of ER, and guess what, ladies and gentlemen, there isn't really very many swords in the game that give offensive stats like this while also providing 77% ER. And that kind of results in a bit of a situation over here when he doesn't have access to it, because he doesn't really feel like any of the 4-star options feel particularly good with him. Another example is Cardathea with her signature Defier's Thorn, because she's an HP scaler. And the only other weapon in the game that has an HP main stat as a weapon is like literally a 3-star garbage weapon. It's blue. It's not even purple. It's blue. So that's her alternative if you're looking for an HP main stat. So the end result is that like calculating characters with like Brant on Overture, right, is just stupid because this weapon is really bad on him, right? And then calculating Cart on like a 3-star weapon is just, do I even have a copy of it, bro? I don't even have a copy of it. Yeah, it's just really bad. Yeah, it's just really bad. I think you got to craft that thing. Waste of resources over there. Not particularly very, very smart move to do for any player to even level that up to 90 in the first place. So I think the tier list over here is just, they'll make a concession for those. And of course, bump characters down or up accordingly based off the fact that they are kind of tied to their signature. And if somebody is tied to their signature on a value tier list, right, they don't have the free-to-play options and they're not reliable, that probably means they're going to be a bit lower. Though on the team's tier list, they shouldn't really be affected too much, because I think the team's tier list is looking at people at their max potential. And in Whimpering Wastes, all characters are assessed as if they have access to any of the purple tokens, and gold tokens are not factored in. And all these characters are meant to be at the maximum level possible with everything upgraded with a level 90 weapon. All right, is there anything too crazy I need to read over here? Yeah, I guess we got to read the whole thing. Roles. We compare characters within their roles, so a DPS is compared to another DPS, and the ratings are adjusted based on their performance. And please do not compare characters between roles. Like if you're out here saying Shorekeeper needs to be compared to, I don't know, a Cardathea, you're being really dumb here. Okay, like don't compare like a Shorekeeper to a Cardathea on like the tier list. There's no point in doing that. DPS units. DPS characters focus on, okay, I already know this. Okay, yeah, okay, we all know this. Blah blah blah, all of that. It's a standard 14 second rotation. This is like meant for people that maybe have no idea what Wuthering Waves is. It's just standard 14-second rotation, might vary depending on certain factors, blah, blah, blah. If you watch my content, you already should know all of this. And if you don't, maybe watch more of my content. Anyways, how DPS characters are graded at a baseline. All DPS characters are given a baseline performance rating based on their performance within the game modes specified by the tier list. Afterwards, the increase provided by additional costs, extra limited characters, extra weapon, is tested and calculated for them individually, and penalties are applied to the baseline performance based on extra costs. So remember what I was talking about before? If a character is tied to their signature, right? If a character is tied to their signature and feels like they really need it to get a baseline level of performance, that's going to knock them down on the value tier list at a baseline. Characters costing more than weapons due to the presence of a 50-50. So yeah. Finally, the best balance of performance to cost is then used for the assessment. Now we got some additional factors. whether or not the character is the most effective user of other teammates, basically the partner tag, whether the character is adaptable to any type of boss or enemy, basically, are they like Carlotta and they could just hit everybody regardless of where they are, and extra tags will be given for people who have significant power discrepancies without certain teammates. Wait a second. I think like the first and the third kind of are the same thing, right? Am I tripping over here? Maybe we need to get the definitions of the first and the third one clarified a little bit more, because they kind of do seem like the same thing. I don't know. That's a little bit interesting to me. Yeah, the most effective user of additional limited weapons or teammates provided if they're assessed with them, and then the other one is. Yeah, maybe just put the partner tag up here and then the expert tag down here. Anyways, now we got hybrid characters. Yeah, these are just the buffers. I don't think we need to read the definition over here. How hybrid and support characters are graded. Let's see. Character performance within the relevant amount of strongest teams. Basically, how many teams are they able to support and how good are the teams that they support? Their flexibility. Character performance compared to alternatives. Are they better than all the other choices that they have, or are they like a close second place? And that's where the Lene argument really comes in, because she's a close second place for a lot of teams. The impact of the signature weapon. Lene also is just perfectly fine on static mist. And whether the character is adaptable to every kind of boss or enemy. Okay, that's fine. And for supports only, leniency based off of the buffs and the sustain they have. Other criteria. The criteria above this section applies to all of our tier lists. However, each unique tier list rates characters based on their average value in the specific mode it represents. Hence, the higher a character is rated on a given tier list, the greater their power and usability in the mode, making accessing the rewards much easier for players. We do not consider going for the highest scores or the lowest time, only the ability to get 36 stars or get 4.5k in infinite torrents. However, some criteria may be specific to certain character archetypes or within certain modes altogether, depending on the tier list you view. Okay, yeah, I guess that's like grouping, right? Grouping in Weewa versus like burst in ToA. If you're a burst character, it's not very good to have burst in Weewa because you're gonna overkill enemies, right? But bursting can be very good in the ToA because that means there's less opportunities for you to miss your attacks. Just think about playing Camellia, for example, and the enemy dashes away and now you can't ephemeral in your outro buff duration. Please keep in mind, all factors listed below only have minor impacts on their final tier list rating, and they are as follows. For hybrids and supports in all game modes, whether or not there is a need for higher echo investment to perform. This is recognition of the Naked Sanhua build. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. And the Naked Sanhua build is a build where you put Sanhua on like Overture. You don't even need to have it leveled up. It could be like level 40 and you're good. And then you just put her on like a bum-ass Moonlit Cloud set. Like literally her 4-cost echo is like +0 and I just put random shit on her. This is like Jedge's stuff, actually. You can tell it's not very good. And I just am able to clear every end game, right, that I need with her like this. She's like a walking echo skill. It's kind of nuts, right? And applying the logic in reverse as well, Chisa, for example, is worse than Arrow Rover without her signature. Chisa also needs to have a good DPS, like, set of echoes on her set to also be better than Rover, because her personal damage needs to be what makes up for her smaller buffs relative to Arrow Rover. And if she doesn't have a giga high level of investment, basically, for the Chisa, Cardathea, Chakota team, all three characters need to be super built. And if you're just running Chakota, Arrow Rover, Cardathea, Arrow Rover can have the most bum-ass set in history, and the team will still perform pretty much the same regardless. Yes, you'll miss like a little bit of DPS, but it's like, yeah, that's the difference here. Yeah, that's from Sweat. For all roles in Wuthering Waves only, ability to gather enemies. So yes, section and all of that goodness, right? Yes, being able to gather and group enemies is broken in that game mode, especially if you can deal damage at the same time. So yeah, that's going to be the new criteria, ladies and gentlemen. I know that was a little bit wordy, but we didn't actually spend too much time going through it. But we had to take a look at that new criteria and all of those specifications to understand where all the characters are placed. So we're going to be doing this alongside the team tier list just to first see, all right, who are the most valuable units in the game? And then from there, how many times are they actually popping up on some high value or some high performing teams? So first and foremost, we're going to have Amith for the DPSs, Amith and Luke in tier 0. And I think we've already done plenty of explanation for why these characters alongside Lene are there. So I think we can keep this short. Amith currently has the strongest team in the game in the form of A, well, the Toon Rupture one, where she's with Mornier and Lene. And this is a team where Lene is pretty much mandatory. And if you don't have Lene, Ameth actually isn't really that great, because she's going to be missing a lot of like those Toon Rupture interactions, and you miss a lot of like that burst damage, right? And having Lene on the team is also one of like the biggest buffers of her as well, just from like the Toon Break boost, as well as, you know, just the outro and all of like the other buff she has on her liberation. Static Mist is also something that's going to buff Ameth as well, and not having her does bring the team down a little bit. Same with Mornier over here, right? But you can alternate between the supports, and not having Mornier isn't as much of a bigger deal. This is just the best team in the game, and you need these two to be the best team in the game. However, you're going to notice that Ameth actually has a lot of other options. And if you're sweaty while playing Mono Fusion, for example, then Ameth is also close to a tier 0 unit, but you got to do things like Quick Swap. That's why the Expert Tag +1 is over here. So Ameth has multiple teams. And the big part about why she's in tier 0 is Ameth is actually really good with Emerald to Genesis. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this unit over here, her Sig is actually the most unnecessary investment you can make for the character. Instead of getting her signature, you should instead get like Lene. I'm not even joking. Her with EOG and her without it is like not really that much of a difference. And it like fits her color scheme too. I think that was intended. So yeah, it's kind of just, you could just use this and have no issues at all. And so yeah, that's one of the big reasons for why she's up here. I think Ameth also naturally is going to have other teams that pop up in the future, specifically her Fusion Burst one. And while the Fusion Burst one is pretty dookie, well, it could give you a use for this dog shit unit as well. So you're probably beginning to see, right? Lene's going to be the unit that ends up getting replaced in this team. And, well, and like I said before, right? She's got probably the most teams out of any character in the game because of the fact that she has, well, the ability to switch resonance modes, right? So yeah, she ends up using your terrible Chisa. She ends up using, right, a bunch of other options as well. And I think she even has, does she have any like kind of like bargain bin basement teams? Nah, not really. Not really, no. Yeah, they're all kind of up there. So yeah, that is something that leans into her rating. Good without her signature, uses a bunch of different teammates, and of course, most of those teams are relatively high performing. Luke, on the other hand, he's got a perfect standard weapon for him, right? Obviously, he's good with his signature, but he's also really good with, and I don't even want to level it, but I probably should at this point. He's also really good with Pulsation Bracer, because as we all know, this weapon gives pretty much identical stats, like crit rate and damage-wise, to his signature, but it also interacts perfectly with the Toon Strain part of his kit. So it's kind of like you never actually need to pull Luke's signature to get like top-level performance with him. You could just get this thing instead. And on top of just using that thing instead, well, guess what when it comes to Luke, guys? He might be, just budget-wise, the best single target unit in the game. I know it's taking a while to find him, right? Down here. But that's because him with like Sanhua and Shorekeeper, or him even with Sanhua and Verita, that's also very good. It's not actually a joke. It is very, very, very good to run him in these teams as well. And so the end result is that he's likely the best free-to-play unit in the game for clearing the ToA. I don't think most people can dispute that, because you get Sanhua for free, you also get Verita for free, and then you get his weapon for free. So all you kind of need to do as a new player was just pull him, and you have a ToA ready team. Is there any other unit that's like able to do that at such a high power level? Not really. And Sanhua was on his banner too? Great. Luke can do floor 4 middle at that cost. Yes, he can. That's the thing. This can clear floor 4 with a S6 Sanhua, a Verita, and him on Pulsation Bracer. That can clear floor 4. I'm not even joking. He's that good of a character without his Sig and on like bum-ass free-to-play teams. So that's why he's up here in tier 0, because he is, in my opinion, and I think in Prydwen's opinion too, the best free-to-play unit just in terms of being able to just grab him, get him up, and get him going. All right, Lene, we've already explained this. She's very good with Static Mist, and she supports like 90% of the teams in the game, either as the first option or as the second best option. I don't really think there's too much question over here. I think everybody understands this fundamentally. Now, into the supports. These three are just incredibly good, and you should probably have a copy of all of them. I would say the most skippable is probably Mornier if you don't plan on building any Toon teams. Yeah, that's probably the caveat over here. I think it's, at this point, it might be fair to put like a partner tag on Mornier or something like that, just to show that she's kind of like not really, she's not a better idea to put in, at least in my opinion, unless you're going to be running Toon teams in the first place or Mono Fusion. But then again, she's very good in Mono Fusion and she's very good in the Toon teams. So I guess it's like the partner tag doesn't necessarily make that much sense because Mono Fusion and Toon is a lot of stuff. But I think it's kind of like, yeah, there just needs to be that clarification somewhere. Partner tag is only if you have one single team. I see. That's fair. Or you are tied to one character specifically, and Mornier is not. That's fair. I just feel like maybe she needs, like, the Toon tag, or the... Oh, no, she already has it. She has the break tag. Never mind. But yeah, all three of these characters, you're gonna see them pop up pretty much everywhere, right? Like, oh, take a look at the third slot. Even starting from the bottom, right? It's the same characters everywhere, bro. Yeah, they just show up everywhere. I wonder why. Other than, like some of the Spectro... like the Phoebe and the Zani teams, right? Oh, they just show up everywhere. Yeah, it's kind of clear, right? Why these units are there. Not really. I don't think too much clarification we need to do over here. Now we got tier 0.5, and this is where people are gonna schizo out a little bit. 100%. We got Augusta, and this is the thing. Some people might be saying, "Oh, why is Augusta on here, bro? Isn't she kind of signature reliant?" That's because people haven't actually recognized that, guys, you're able to pretty much clear the ToA using the new standard weapons as stat sticks. Yes, I know this is going to maybe like make people feel weird. You could just use this on Augusta. I'm not even joking, and it's like fine. Because guess what it is? It's a 587 base attack, 48.6% crit damage, and then at R1, 12% attack. She doesn't really need much more than that to clear. And I think you could also use like an R6 Mortefi as well and still get clearable runs. However, it's just not as good as Luke. It's just not as good as Luke without the Sig. But with her Sig, her and Luke are pretty much very, very comparable in levels. But Luke's free-to-play option still gives him the basic attack damage bonus, while this liberation damage bonus over here that you get from Radiant's Cleaver is just not as good, right? And so that's going to be the sort of differentiation that everybody needs to keep in mind. Some people are going to use the new standard weapons better than others, but the new standard weapons are powerful at a baseline. And now we're going to have Frolova over here. And I think this is where Frolova is kind of factored in with her signature. I would say that's kind of like a fair assumption because the standard rectifiers are kind of dog shit. So I think Frolova had a chance to be higher because she has very good free-to-play teams. That's my take. She can be used with Dan Jin. She can be used with Havoc Rover, all of that. And I imagine that Frolova's only in tier 0.5 because without using a 5-star premium signature, it's kind of not good. Oh, she has Booling as well as a free-to-play option. So that's kind of like the thing. I think if Frolova had a good standard weapon to use, she would probably be in tier 0, but she doesn't, and you kind of need to factor in her signature. But you can save on like the premium side by simply using free-to-play teammates with her instead and still clearing. I've had plenty of situations where I was close to clearing, right? I just need to get better at using the team. Running her with Danjin and Havoc Rover, and, well, that's an incredibly free-to-play lineup, right? Now, we got Sigrika over here. Ladies and gentlemen, Sigrika is actually very strong. She's also fine on the standard gauntlet over here just because the stats on it are pretty terrific. And the thing is that, yes, she requires a partner, but guys, she also deals like some of the highest damage in the game. And I think the reason why she's in tier 0.5 is because she kind of requires Chuyan to function as a character. And if she doesn't have Chuyan on her team, then like half of her kit doesn't work. However, her damage numbers are absolutely absurd. You know, I just might as well just demonstrate it because I don't think some people have built their Sigrika properly. Let me show you what this team is capable of right here. So this is my Sigrika on a crit rate. Her build is disgusting, right? She has 97.3% crit rate on Echo skill attacks and like 2.7k attack, 140. Yeah, exactly. You're jealous. Let's move on. Let me show you what this team is capable of. And I'm just gonna show you, Chuyan, Sigrika. It's gonna be kind of nutty here. All right, check this out. Check out this Chuyan tech. So you're gonna go ahead and use the fleur-de-lis echo to CC the enemy. Oh, okay, all right, that didn't work. For some reason, my third cast didn't go off. But yeah, you use the fleur-de-lis echo to CC the enemy so he can actually get off his casts. Yeah, that's a new tech I was grinding for the other day. It's kind of sick. All right, just get the rotation off. Here we go. Watch this. Watch this. Yeah, we'll do it properly this time. Wasn't that crazy? All right, now check out the Sigrika damage, bro. Huh?
You're gonna remember this. I'll indulge you. Bow before on you go. Taste my resolve. Praise me.
With no shilling.
At my string. Fate.
What sleeps within
Revealed.
one strike to settle it all. Behold this boy. Break like bamboo.
Let me greet my friends.
Check that shit out, brother.
Be my aid. True name. Illuminate. Leg cannon. Blow up explosion. Just a tiny slip. With style and grace.
Do you guys see this?
Answer my call. Face me. Fate in my mark.
What sleeps within bamboo. Mandate calls.
Do you see this?
Judgment falls. Behold this boy.
Let me
My move is the boy.
greet my friends. Detonate. Straight to the stars.
Good lord.
You're gonna remember this. Now watch closely. On you go. The moon is full.
Good lord.
Entertain me. Foe, be my prey.
What sleeps within bamboo. Your life.
Good lord.
Mine to take. Behold this boy. Vanish.
Let me.
My move
Yeah, you know what? Let's just blow him up. That is, I think, tier 0 level performance when she's at full build. I think that is possibly second strongest, maybe tied for first strongest team in the game. Because that is with no shilling. Absolutely no shilling at all. No floor buff. They don't interact with tomb breaks, any of that shit, bro. All they get are the baseline buffs. Nothing else. That is how strong this unit is. However, she needs a Chuyan to be able to reach her full potential. That's the point. And so my personal opinion is that the only reason why she's in tier 0.5 is based off of the fact that she needs Chuyan to reach that performance. And without Chuyan, she's like not a character. Yeah, she's kind of just not a character unless you have Chuyan. I've already tried her without it, and it is not good. Her signature is also very strong. But like we said before, right? Yeah, it provides unique stats that you can't really get anywhere else, like Echo Skill Damage Amplification, because she has so many damage buffs in her kit, it's not necessary to do much else. But she still works just fine on Pulsation Bracer, right? It's not a big deal. Do you need Chuyan Sig? No, you can just use him on EOG and there's not really an issue. He's easier to build on EOG as well. All you miss is like a bit of Chuyan's personal damage and 20% Echo Skill damage. But if you know how Sigrika's kit works, missing this is not really that big of a deal at all. Yeah. Use someone else than third slot. Why? I could use whoever I want, bro. Yuno's good. Shorekeeper's fine as well, but there's no point in me using Shorekeeper with this team when why would I use Shorekeeper when she has 97% crit rate? What, you want me to overcap on crit by 10%? You want me to overcap on crit over here by 10%, brother? I could do that, but that would be incredibly dumb. Use Chakota or... use Chakota or somebody else. Chakota would make the team better. You realize that, right? You realize Chakota... Like, you know so little about what you're talking about. You don't recognize that Chakota would make the team stronger. Right? Oh, you know what? Screw it. Why don't we just show this bum over here? Let's show what a sustainless team can do, guys.
Perfect wrap up. Let the show begin.
What sleeps within bamboo? Mandate calls. Judgment falls. Behold this boy. Break like bamboo.
Let me
My move
greet
is the
my
blade.
friends. This is it. Straight to the stars. Know what explosion means? You're gonna remember this. Thanks for watching. Master, listen. The
I think this is gonna two-rotate him.
What sleeps within bamboo? Behold, your life is mine to take.
Ah!
Nothing that won't heal.
Okay, okay. We're just gonna have to, Okay, this is gonna be annoying. I want to get off that third attack. There we go.
My friend. Just a tiny slip. This is it.
Yeah, Chuyan is goofy, brother.
Excellent. You're gonna remember this. Thanks for watching.
That basically two-rotates him. That two-rotates him. Into arrow resistance! Wait, that had arrow resistance! S0R1 with that team two-rotated him into arrow resistance. So his only comment was, "You're a happy human." Because he's just dumb. I never said... So why'd you ask me to use somebody else? Use someone other than third slot. You're using a perfect build. Use Chakota. The team was better with Chakota. So you told me to use a character that makes the team stronger. Anyways. Don't need any of that garbage in my chat. Glad we were able to turn it into content, though, but I don't need any losers like that in my chat. Yeah, next time they're gonna say, take all the echoes off your Sigrika. Yeah, we need to see what she looks like at relatable investment. Yeah, actually, can you put Sigrika on a 3-star weapon? Can you put +0 echoes on her? Anyways, hopefully you're beginning to understand why Sigrika's placement makes sense. If she wasn't so reliant on Chuyan, and, for example, Kuro added a 38% echo skill buffer, who's essentially like Mortefi or a Sanhua, but for echo skills, I can easily see Sigrika going up to tier 0. However, Chuyan is the only echo skill buffer in the game. And if there was a free-to-play option, I think she would be tier 0. I think that's fair to say, but there isn't. And that's going to bleed into value for a unit like her. Anyways, going down now and taking a look at the sub DPSs, you probably understand why Chuyan is up here. He's the best in slot for Lova, but she still has free-to-play teams. He's very close to a best in slot for Galbrena, and obviously he's the best in slot for Sigrika, and those are three of the strongest units in the game, right? Makes a good bit of sense why he's here. Lupa is also going to be here because she's best in slot for Galbrena, close to a best in slot for Ameth, best in slot for Brant. Can we put the expert tag on Brant? I don't think he's in tier 2. Like, just put the expert tag on him for some quick swap. She's also just very good as well, right? I mean, all you need to do is take a look at the team's tier list, see how often Lupa pops up. She got a Galbrena team over here. Wait. This team over here? Wait, Brant does have the expert tag here. What the fuck? Okay, so yeah, Brant hypercarry is also strong, and then with the expert tag, it goes into, like, Giga meta territory over here. So that's where she pops up, and she pops up a bunch of times. So I think that's fair to say. I don't think we need too many more questions over here. Oh, by the way, these two are not Sig reliant at all. You can use so much stuff on Lupa. It's insane. Like, all her Sig provides is a small 24% fusion damage buff to the team. And Chuyan's is just personal damage and 20% echo skill damage. You could just use you could just use standard weapons on these two, and they're not really that much better or worse as a result. Now, moving on, let's take a look at the strong value characters. First one's going to be Carlotta, and this is the situation over here. Carlotta is not very Sig reliant, but her teams are simply not that strong anymore. However, she has the unique ability of being one of the easiest and most guaranteed damage characters in the game. And I feel like that part is what's keeping her in tier 1 at the moment. Because unfortunately, when it comes to Carlotta, she doesn't actually have very many she only has like one team, and you just sub out like the supports and stuff, and that's kind of like just it. And her teams, unfortunately, don't do as much damage anymore as new teams have been added. However, it is also fair to say that she has, like I said before, you can't like miss any of her abilities unless you're griefing. And so in practice, she will likely have higher damage than other units against certain bosses. I think that's undeniable. She has she basically has an aimbot, and if the enemy's like zipping around a bunch of times, think Hivatia, during certain attack frames, well, Carlotta will be able to hit them. She might not be able to actually do that. So, yeah, she's still reliable. She's still good. She'll still clear pretty much all the content in the game as long as you have like a solid team for her. And yeah, I think she's just like the benchmark sort of like tier 1 unit. Makes sense why she's here. Now, the next unit over here. Oh, right. Also forgot to mention, she has very good weapon options as well. All the pistol users have this bad boy over here. Basic homogenizer. This thing is just cracked because you can guarantee that you get the damage buff from just using a tomb break. And guess what? Everyone can use a fucking tomb break. So, yeah, any pistol DPS got a massive W with this shit getting added to the game, and they're all way more free-to-play friendly as a result of this. This thing is just broken. Yeah, it is easily the best standard weapon in the game, just based off of usability. And on Carlotta, it's basically 97% of her signature. So Carlotta has basically become the least Sig reliant DPS in the game because this is 3% worse than her Sig. Her Sig is now the worst signature in the game. Basically, you don't ever need to pull it. You probably should never pull her signature. And honestly, we should ask Kuro Games for a refund somehow, because this standard weapon is so good. All right, now moving on, we've got Cartithia, and people are likely going to get a little bit pissed over here. Cartithia needs her Sig. Cartithia also needs Chikona. So if you thought Sigrika's rating was dragged down, Cartithia's rating gets dragged down by like 2 points. She should be functionally, right, closer to like here or maybe there at a baseline, but she's very expensive to get up and running. However, she does have a free-to-play option with like Arrow Rover as well. So it kind of does like level her out a little bit. I guess the fact that she has Arrow Rover means that in reality, she doesn't need her third teammate, so you can rationalize getting her Sig. But think about it this way. That partner tag can also extend to having 6 stacks of Arrow Erosion from your teammates. So it's kind of like partner Arrow Rover and then partner Chisa as well. Do you see how she's like not very flexible? Do you see how she's kind of like constrained? And do you see why Amith is kind of just a better value unit than her? You've got like, how is Amith tier 0? Are you retarded? Wait, no, this is just you admitting you're fucking dumb, right? Like we just spent so much time talking about how Amith has like multiple teams. Like, she got the Mono Fusion one, she got the Rupture one, and then she got the Fusion Burst one, and then you're out here saying she's the same as Cartithia, who has one team? I'm serious. Isn't her team full of premium members? The point is that Amith has a fuck ton of teams, and the more teams a DPS can be used in, the higher their value. And Amith also has the bonus of having the strongest team in the game. And you don't even need a premium support. We're gonna be timing out a lot of people today. Oh, right. We're gonna be timing out all the Cartithia mains. They turned retarded. I see somebody saying, oh, well, isn't this the same as Sigrika? Wait, I need to go find the person that said that one too. Where are they? Sigrika is just as constrained. The only thing constrained is your fucking love life because you play old school runes. Anyways, right? Did you not just see me use Sigrika with Shorekeeper, Chikona, or Arrow Rover? Because she can use all of those supports. Cartithia has Chikona, which is where you have like the Chuyan tag, and then she has 2 choices of sustains. Sigrika has like 5 of them. She has Verita, Mornier, Shorekeeper, Arrow Rover. And guess who's free from that list? Arrow Rover and Verita. Yeah, bro, dude, this game is too complicated for you. Go chop some fucking wood and go mine some rocks, bro. Jesus Christ. Now we got Galbraina. And Galbraina, unfortunately, has now earned the spot of the cuck chair. And by what I mean by the cuck chair is that Galbraina's best teams all have a better DPS to run in them. For example, Galbraina's best team right now is the Mono Fusion lineup with Lupa and Mornier, but Amith can deal more damage than that team. Galbraina's other best in slot team with Chuyan and Shorekeeper, well, Sigrika can deal more damage than that team. So, like, Galbraina kind of is like the cuck unit, where you've now seen her kind of feel like she gets replaced, but she has this bonus. Galbraina can be played with Chuyan and then also played with Lupa. So she has the flexibility factor over here, which is why she's, like, still decent and still a solid pick. And she's better in Weewa, at least in my opinion, than Amith at the very least in Mono Fusion. That's just from my own experimentation. So my personal take is that Galbraina has the flexibility, but not necessarily the power. But Galbraina is also incredibly easy to play. Yeah, you can just spam the left mouse button with her, and then yeah, it's just fine, right? There's no effort required to make her to play her. She's the easiest unit in the game. The easiest unit in the game. Absolutely no complications about that. Now we got Yuno on the side. Yuno has this, also the phenomenon of being in the cuck chair as well as a main DPS. You want to use Lene with Yuno and Mornier, but you want to know who else you can use with Yuno or with Lene and Mornier? Yeah, these two. Yeah, and they either deal more damage than her or they deal more damage than her. They're both better than her for their intended. Yeah, it's rough, right? Yuno was really good when 3.0 dropped, and Lene and Mornier didn't have an Amith or a Luke to support, but now that they do, she drops down accordingly. She's also, like, the worst AoE attacker in the game. I'm pretty sure. If you thought Carlotta was bad, this unit is legitimately worse. She's so dog shit, it's unbelievable. Now we got Phoebe. Spectre Rover's free. However, doesn't she need the partner tag for Spectre Rover? Because, like, no, there's no way we're charting her with Chakotay and ToA, right? Like, if you're using her with Chakotay and ToA, you're just griefing, right? Right. That's not real, right? We're just lying over here with this one. That's free, so no partner tag? Do partner tags get added for free units? Should they? Because she's not functional, right? She's not functional without Spectre Rover at a baseline. But Spectre Rover is free, so maybe the partner tag isn't necessary. Anyways, Phoebe has free-to-play teams. Phoebe can be run with a character like Mortefi, right? Phoebe can also upgrade by running, what's it called? Wait, I know she pops up here somewhere. I don't think it's... Yeah, I guess it's from the perspective of she's got decent teams, but I think she might belong in tier 1.5. If I'm frankly being honest, because it's not like her teams are good. Yeah, it's not like the teams are, like, strong, though, right? Like maybe she does belong in tier 1.5. I think this might be a unit that's overplaced a little bit. I know she has, like, a free-to-play team. I suppose. But isn't she also a little bit Sig reliant as well? Because, like, if she's not on String Master and she's not on her Sig, isn't her damage also, like, really shit? Because, like, what is she gonna use? The fucking Abyss Surges, bro? Yeah, I feel like the Sig situation alone should be enough to drop her down a little bit. Because she is a Rectifier user. Yeah, all the Rectifier DPSs do kind of, like, they don't got no good standard weapons. Oh, Ocean's Gift? Oh, the fishing event Rectifier. You're right. That thing is pretty mad decent on her. I see. Wait, maybe. Okay, with the fishing event Rectifier, I can see what you're talking about now. Okay. Good point. Yeah, the fishing weapon. If you're wondering what I'm talking about, for some reason, Kuro Games came out, and this is like the only time they've done it, an insanely free-to-play option over here for Phoebe in the form of Ocean's Gift. Yeah, and, like, only she can use it. So, yeah, hopefully you guys are beginning to understand why certain characters are over here. I'm also realizing that we're spending a lot of time. We're not going to be spending as much time on units as they get passed over here. Hopefully you can Oh my god. Anyways, yeah, maybe we will have to talk about that. Now let's start taking a look at the sub DPSs over here. We're gonna have Chakota, Yuno, and Mortefi. There's a lot of heavy attackers in the game. For example, Phoebe's actually one of them. Gabreda is too. And, well, you got Augusta there as well. He's a part of a team of budget options that ends up doing really well on a lot of places in the roster. Not really, it's his time to shine. Chakona, on the other hand, is kind of only good in arrow teams, but her buffs aren't at the same level as Lupa, and her DPS choices are kind of not at the same level as Lupa either. Like we said, Cardathea could be a tier 0 unit if she had better choices in supports and didn't rely on arrow erosion going up to 6 stacks, right? That's something we know. And when it comes to the arrow DPSs, right, nobody's really charting a Chakona, Chuyan, Sigrika team. If there was healing somewhere across these three, I think Chakota goes to tier 1 or tier 0.5. But it's not reasonable to play Chakona, Chuyan, Sigrika in certain types of content. It's just not a team I'm ever going to recommend because it's like unplayable against certain enemies. You're just going to be dodging the whole time and not doing a real rotation. The end result is that, unfortunately, when the only other characters she can support are like Gion and then Chakota and then, you know, not really Sigrika, it's not really like her being this absolute monster truck DPS or monster truck sub DPS compared to what Lupa's capable of. So yeah, that's something that's going on over there. Now we got Yuno as a sub DPS. Guys, unfortunately, until Gion gets buffed, I think Yuno might have to stay in tier 1. And the reason is pretty clear. She's kind of just like really good for Augusta and then not really that great in other teams. Maybe if we start charting or considering Yuno with Chuyan and Sigrika, I like that team. This is actually my favorite iteration of a Sigrika team. That's why I showed it off first, using Yuno with Chuyan with Sigrika. I really like it, but that's also an incredibly expensive fucking team. And it's like Shorekeeper also gets the job done, Verita also gets the job done in her place, blah blah blah. Like Arrow Rover gets the job done in her place. I think her having sustained though really does open up her flexibility in team options because maybe it's enough to bump her up. The fact that she has sustained, but then also like world-class DPS and then world-class buffing as well, I think it gives her a lot of unique lineups. And it's something that I feel like this sustain piece of her is one of the more undervalued part of her kits because it's not used at all in the Augusta team. Use her with Phoebe. She's kind of not that great with Phoebe because Phoebe doesn't need that much amp. So, yeah. That's the reason why all of those units are in there. And one thing that's very clear is that Yuno probably has some of the highest damage overall for a sub DPS in the game. But on a similar note, if you're maximizing her damage, you're really extending the team's rotation time when it kind of is better to just get it done quickly so that a unit like her can actually take more time on the field. So there's a little bit of like complication and stuff with like balancing her rotations. And the only teams that she's unfortunately really good in outside of the Augusta ones, they have a fuck ton of premium units in them. And they're not really like even that great. So that's kind of like the issue there. Now we got Arrow Rover. They're free. And they're usable in a lot of good teams. So they're just not as flexible as these two. Or these three. They're just only going to be used in arrow teams. It is what it is. Now let's move on. Take a look at tier 1.5. This is where we're going to see our first 1.x unit. And Gion's going to be here. And this is the reality, ladies and gentlemen. Gion currently has the best 1.x teams in the game. Simply due to the fact that the Chakota quick swap team exists, which is one of the reasons why, again, one of the reasons why these guys are up here is because Gion is here. You also have the mono arrow Chakota Yuno Gion team. That's also a solid one as well. So the kind of like end result, guys, is that you have a bunch of different units that you can use with him. He's still relatively okay, not the best. Requires a good boss matchup to use his Giga free-to-play like Shorekeeper Mortefi team, but that's something that he can do as well. The end result, though, is that, unfortunately, it's just his motion values and stuff are a bit outdated, but he does have the unique ability of having one of the shortest Resonance Liberation cooldowns in the fucking game. And so, maybe we'll have some stuff in the future that comes out for him, but as of now, he mainly benefits from being an arrow-heavy attacker, and that really lets him maximize the utility out of these two. And that's why he's going to be the highest-rated 1.x character. Yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Add the cuck tag, too. No, the cuck tag's going to be for her and him. Yeah, that's where the cuck tag's going to go. So, yeah, how about you just get off his back? Now we got Zoni. This character is so shit, it's unbelievable. And I think the main perspective that I think most people should take is that you need Phoebe. And that if you don't quick swap, the team's not that good. The team's actually pretty bad if you don't quick swap it. You also need to do cancels. If you aren't going to quit, if you don't do any cancels, how about this? Let me demonstrate to you why this team is so boo-boo water dog cheeks right here. We got my Zodi. She's pretty okay built. We're going to have a Phoebe on Moonlit Clouds. And I just want to show you what this team looks like with no quick swap and no cancels. I am just eager to show you what it looks like with no quick swap and no cancels. And we're going to do like a 2 Nightfall super standard, like bum ass, like we're going to play it like we play other teams with like, again, no cancels, none of that. Guys, it's going to be so shit. It's unbelievable. Phoebe weapon. Phoebe doesn't have a weapon. Oh, right. You know what? We will put the weapon on. Yeah, no, let's do that. No, let's do that, guys. No, that's a fair call out. We need to make sure Phoebe has her fucking weapon. Yeah, trading rectifier? Hell no. We're gonna put on Luminous Hive. And she's gonna have Blazing Justice. Don't worry, boys. This is gonna be insane. Get ready. Again, no cancels, no quick swap. I will cancel on Shorekeeper, though.
I engraft you new. Sentinel, protect me. Answer me.
Y'all ready?
Power of the Sentinel.
No contest. I can spare a minute to knock some heads around. Don't stand in my way! Reduced to dust! What a waste of time.
From the heart. In war with time.
Does this look like a good team, boys?
Judgment time. Mover, be my salvation.
I probably shouldn't have done that skill, but you know, I'll throw in one cancel in there because I should have done that skill.
No contest. Come at me. All yours.
Bro, where's my ER?
I don't have all day. Reduced to dust.
Does this look good, guys?
Physical damage.
Oh my god, I got my fucking ass lasered.
Loading. Astral modulation.
Chat, why is this #1 Zani player playing her? Like, I feel like I'm missing something.
Path is arduous. Shielding others is my duty.
Wait, why do I feel like I'm like missing something? I have like no fucking...
Power of the Sentinel.
Where's my ER?
All of you at once. I don't do overtime.
2 Nightfall needs higher ER? 120's not enough?
You've made it first.
Are you serious?
Just this.
Wait, you're telling me 120 ER is not... So she has that issue as well? You need 130? You know, fuck this unit, bro. Hopefully you can tell how many issues she has. What a dog shit character. So you need 130 if you're gonna do 2 Nightfall. And so you have to do 3 if you're at 120 on a DPS unit? So that... Fuck this character. I think she should be tier 2 with the expert tag. I'm gonna be honest. I don't even think she belongs here. I think she's actually irredeemable trash. I'm gonna be so honest with you. I think she's irredeemable trash. Like after I heard she needs 130, fuck that. Nah, that's crazy. That's some bullshit. Nah, that ain't even real. Just delete her and refund her. Or just rework her, bro. I don't care, bro. Dude, this character's crazy. Phoebe, bump them both down. Bump them. Send them to hell. Send them to tier 2, both of them. Get them out of here. Sanhua. She's really good with Luke now, though, so I feel like her being this good with Luke can necessitate her being tier 1. But to be fair, Camelia's not that good anymore, so yeah. I think that I can see what's going on here. Spectra Rover, I think they can stay in tier 1.5 because they're free and they work with Phoebe. All right, now we got the niche or lower value units. Brant, I think he needs the expert tag, and he could be moved up a little bit, but he does have a signature. He does have the signature situation. So yeah. I think he could use the expert +1 tag, though, as a DPS. Encore. I'm going to be honest. I think we're overestimating Encore with the standard weapons. Because the new standard, even the new standard rectifier is not good. So I think she needs to be, I think all the rectifier DPSs need to be bumped down a little bit. Yeah, that's my personal take, because I feel like we're charting them with String Master or something else, but like, bro, all we got is like, we don't have good rectifiers, bro. So it's kind of like, I feel like this is a little bit rough. Yeah, I don't see her as a tier 2 with the standard stuff. Jinsey, on the other hand, yeah, Jinsey with the standard weapon, I think is definitely better than Encore. And Havoc Rover, they are free. They are free. Encore would have been above tier 2 without the penalty. Oh, that's true, because you can run Lupa with Encore. Right, you could do Mornier, Lupa, Encore, and I feel like it's strong. You know what? Never mind. With that... But then Brant is better than Encore, though, for sure. Yeah, no, Brant is definitely better than Encore if we're going to go for, like, a basic attacker within Mono Fusion. So it's like, yeah, if they both have a SIG requirement, yeah, Brant should probably get expert +1 for sure. And Havoc Rover is free, and they got a good option in EOG. So I don't think we can. Yeah, I don't think we can freak out too much over there. Considering Brant needs the double anchor tech. Okay, guys. This is why Brant needs the expert tag. You know what? We might just split the tier list video into 2 parts. We might just need to do a Weewa one, because I feel like I need to like explain to people why these characters are placed in certain ways. So yeah, we're probably going to do the Weewa one later. I think this is going to need to be 2 videos because this shit is like an hour long at this point. All right, I'll show you guys why Brant gets the expert tag. Okay, this is what the lineup is looking like. Everyone's looking pretty solid. I'll show you why he gets it. Though, I do feel like these guys are gonna backstep out of my anchor like madly. It has been a while since I've done the quick swap though, so hopefully it doesn't look too chunky. Oh no, we got the parry off. That's pretty good.
Authorizing maximum output. Structural override initiated. With me.
Here we go. That was a little bit trash, but yeah, you guys get what's happening over here.
Epic shot. Let the flames rise.
That's essentially the double anchor tech. And you're gonna notice, oh wait, he's got another one in him right here.
Listen carefully. Same actor.
That's the damage in 1 rotation.
Locked in. Processing some stars. Hear my queries.
S0R1. But he needs his SIG, right, to do that. Oh, and then you get the, oh, right, the Lupa ult as well.
Carefully. Same actor.
Assuming master control.
Like, do you guys see what's going on here now?
All units fire. Order exit initiating criticality protocol. Structural override initiated.
You see what's going on here now?
Die, evil. Into the spotlight.
Wait, where's my intro skill?
At the helm.
Okay, I kind of griefed that one over there, but yeah, it's kind of hard to quick swap into certain enemies like this. You can see that I took a little bit too long, and Mornier's outro skill is gonna run out. So yeah, it's all about like, you know, practicing with the team to get like some crisper swaps. But that's what double fusion is that's what mono fusion quick swap is capable of. If you swap between the characters, and I can do more work to get it better. So yeah, that's just an example of it. And as you can see, right, it can be a very powerful team. So that's why I think it deserves the expert tag +1, because, well, double anchors with that character. He's doing a shit ton of damage per rotation. And you could swap way better than what I did and get the rotation time a lot lower. It's just, it is, you gotta like time out some of the animations better. And there are some tight timing windows on things like Lupa's Foam Breaker and stuff like that. It's a little bit annoying to figure out, but yeah, you can do it. So getting back into it, stuff looks pretty fine over here. Now we got the sustain category, and this is where stuff gets unfortunate. Brand's value has unfortunately gone down as a direct result of one thing: Mornier's release. The mono fusion team is still quite strong, but the mono fusion team of Brand, Chang Li, and Lupa has the big issue of all three characters need to be built very well. And if they're not built well, the team doesn't actually do that well. It's not like you have like affordable options that you can use to like not to skip like building echoes and stuff like that, right? Now we got Cantarella. You need Frolova for this character to work, but Frolova does not need her. Not too much more I can say. She's not Sig reliant because she doesn't really do anything. But yeah, Dan Jin. I feel like Dan Jin, just based off of like her free-to-play friendliness and like the fact that she can work with Frolova, maybe could be a bit higher. I think Dan Jin and Sanhua could both move up. That's my personal take. I think Dan Jin and Sanhua could both move up a little bit, just because they're good free to play for Frolova and they're good free to play for Luke. That's my take. Jeja, I think tier 2 is a good spot for her because she only works with Carlotta, and like Carlotta is not the goddess she used to be. And now Bu Ling. Is Bu Ling that bad? I feel like Bu Ling is like tier 1.5, right? I feel like Bu Ling is actually pretty decent because she works with Frolova, she works with Carlotta, she works with sort of Jancy, I guess. I don't know. I feel like she's not that bad. I feel like she also has an insane S6 too. Like an unethical S6, if I'm frankly being honest. It's like 50% resident skill damage, right? That does seem pretty good. So Bu Ling, I think, I don't know. I don't think she's that bad. I think she is pretty valuable as a character. She's got some good stuff. But Chisa, though, fuck this unit, bro. She's so bad, it's unbelievable. In fact, I think Chisa belongs in tier 3. If I'm gonna be so for real with you, I think she belongs in tier 3 off the basis that if she doesn't have her Sig, she's worse than Arrow Rover. And then she is the mainstay of the worst Ameth team. The worst Ameth team. That's her. I'm not even joking. And until Ameth's Fusion Burst team is decent, I don't think this unit is like, I think this unit should be like tier 3. I'm being honest, bro. Because like, you need her Sig to be better than Arrow Rover. You also need her to be built to be better than Arrow Rover. I pray to God she works with Hiyuki. I pray to God that Hiyuki is a Glacio Chafe character, and then Chisa at S0 R0 makes her pop off. Otherwise, it's fucking over, bro. It's legitimately fucking over. We are cooked. If you're an owner of this unit. Bro, do you know how much I don't use her? I didn't even know the special lore thing about her being related to the Miko because her intimacy level is like fucking negative. Bro, I don't have a single one of her voice lines. Bro, look. I don't have anything unlocked because I don't play this dog shit character. She's terrible. She's useless. She's a net loss to your account because you could have used those pulls to get somebody else. And I think she should be bumped down. I'm not even joking. I hate this unit so much. She's so trash. Anyways, now we got Camellia. Damn, is she that bad? Oh, I know why. Oh, that makes sense. Camellia has the unfortunate consequence of her ceiling getting murdered by this stupid midget. Rosia was such a bad character. And Yinlin and Rosia are such bad characters that they have essentially sealed their fates as units. Because they have the best in slot outro buffs for Camellia and Zhang Liao specifically, but these two units are so terrible and so awful that, like, Linnea's better for him and Sanhua is better for Camellia. Camellia Sanhua is literally better than Rosia. People have realized that now. S6 Sanhua is better than Camellia. And Camellia, unfortunately, there's better teammates for Sanhua and there's better teammates for Shorekeeper in the present day. Luke is basically just like a Supremo version of Camellia. But don't worry, Camellia's way better in Wuthering Waves. So it's like, it's not that bad that she's actually in tier 3 in the ToA. It's just because all of her teammates now have better partners. But she still is actually, I found her to be one of the better Weewa units in recent resets. Like, I'm not joking. She actually makes it up pretty adequately in that game mode. Zhang Liao, on the other hand, yeah, no, he's just getting fucked over by this piece of trash. And with the loss of plunderers and Weewa, yeah, he's just not good. And now Chang Li. This unit is bad. She's not good. And yes, you can quick swap with her, but you can also quick swap with plenty of other teams that are just better than hers. That's why nobody uploads Chang Li clips anymore. They've all decided to become Zani mains. And nobody watches Zani mains anymore because they don't want to be a loser. Anyways, yeah, it is what it is, right? Zhang Xin has the nice ability to be buffing Liberation, and there's a lot of Liberation damage dealers. And so I think that's the only reason why she's not tier 4, but wow, her rotation makes me want to go outside and stop playing the game. Yeah, if you've ever tried to build up Concerto on this character, you kind of wish you were doing anything else with your life. And Baizha, she's just the worst sustained option other than these two bums over here. And for the rest of these units, I don't think we need to talk about it. The only real standouts are Rosia and Yinlin being the worst pulls in the game. I honestly think the worst 5-star pulls in the game right now are these two and her. At least with these two, you have a DPS that you can try to have fun with. You just don't have fun with Chisa, and you don't have fun with Yinlin, and you definitely don't have fun with Rosia unless she's S6. It's just a bit rough, isn't it? So yeah. That's the ToA tier list. And so we probably want to take a bit of a review of the team's tier list now after we've taken an opportunity to look at everything, right? And hopefully that'll help explain where stuff is landing. We saw the Brand Hypercarry team. We talked about Jian Mono Arrow, right? We talked about some of the wacky stuff you can do with Phoebe. And then we also talked about how Galbraith can be used in Mono Fusion, right? Then we got Encore coming in. And that's why Encore is actually pretty decent in the ToA. It's because you can run, well, this lineup over here. And with Mornier, Encore, and Lupa, yeah, that's pretty strong. Then we got the Jancy Hypercarry. Is that actually tier 2? Well, I suppose, yeah. Jancy Hypercarry can still kind of get the job done, guys. I'm not joking. It actually still can. And then we got Jian with the Chakota being able to do some funky shit with the quick swap. And then we actually have Zhang Liao Hypercarry where you use him with Lene. This team is actually fine. This team is actually good if you actually go Zhang Liao, Lene, and Mornier. But the question is, why aren't you just using Amith instead? And that's why he's tier 3, even though he's tier 2. Because you'll just be constantly asking yourself, why am I using Lene and Mornier for this guy? Hey, maybe they'll have a fusion-resistant ToA, right? Or it's Electro weak, and then you can decide to slot him in, right? That's the only situation where I think it's, like, not griefing to do that. And now we have Camellia Hypercarry. Is this team really that bad now? Oh, my lord. Are you saying Zhang Liao's actually better than Camellia? I don't think anyone saw that one coming. Did anyone see her being the worst 1.x DPS? I feel like she's not tier 3. I don't think she's tier 3, man. I think she may be a little, like, we're saying she's the same as, oh, Chisha Mono Fusion might actually be the same, actually. No, there's no way they're the same tier as Havoc Rover, bro. Nah, they're using the same fucking teams. Nah, there ain't no way. Nah, she's got to be better than Havoc Rover. Okay, then we got these two bums. Yeah, I mean, the ToA tier list to me, and like I said before, I think we got to split it out because this one's massive, and we now have, like, the team stuff to look at. We'll be looking at the Wuthering Waves one another time in another video. But hopefully our breakdown here has made a lot of sense. Now, let's go ahead and, of course, do the review that we always do when it comes to Sigrika. And we've also got a special video as well ready. Let's just go ahead and check out this review and see if they're on crack here. Modern DPS unit, very strong single target performance with their best team given the right amount of investment. Makes sense. Can buff the team's arrow and echo skill damage. That's why I like the Yuno team, by the way, because you can buff Yuno's arrow damage. And has built-in stuns that can help people exploit her outro skill. Yeah, no, her stagnation is pretty shit, bro. It's the worst thing I've ever seen. Lacks good free-to-play teammates and free-to-play weapons. I don't think the weapon side is that bad, right? Isn't the standard, right? The standard gauntlet only like 15% worse, 16% worse? Strong preference. I think it's a necessity having Chu Yan. And her signature is a desirable upgrade. I think that's fair, but I think like it's like a 20%. It's like 15. That's not that bad. I don't think it's that bad. But yeah, she definitely needs Chu Yan. That's her biggest flaw. And if you don't have Chu Yan, just actually go fuck yourself. That is the truth. It's essentially as much as a Zodi Sig. Is the Zodi Sig upgrade that much, assuming you have Phoebe? I don't think so, right? Because Phoebe already gives 100% amp. Phoebe already gives 100% amp. And then you're just getting 32 from 50. Yeah, you get 50 from 100. It makes sense to me. Yeah, this seems fair, but I don't think the weapon options are that bad, but maybe I'm understating it. It's not huge, but it's nice. But it's not like Amith where you can just skip it with no issue. Maybe putting something about Amith in here and then showing Amith as an example of somebody who can just skip their sig. I think that would be fair. All right, now we've got a special video, apparently, that I was supposed to go take a look at, developed by and curated by Sweat himself. Okay, let's see what we got going on over here. Prydwen.mp4. Let's check this one out.
Massive day for the unemployed. Prydwen Wuthering Waves updated their tier list, and the drama is unacceptable. I'm pretty sure at this point that they've completely stopped thinking, pooped their brains out of their butt, and
remember when I said I knew this guy was, he knew he was gonna piss people off?
didn't even flush it down the toilet, it's that bad. What do you mean Luke Herson is stronger in the ToA
Value focused.
than Kartethia? Let's speak about Kartethia a little bit. I need you guys to know, Kartethia is my wife. I
You need to make like an 8-minute version of this. This is actually amazing content.
have 20 body pillows of her stacked on my bed that I sleep with every single night. And understand this, guys.
Yeah, no, you need to do this every single reset.
Kartethia's PNG was lowered down by 2 tiers on the Prydwen tier list, guys. Now Prydwen is saying Phoebe is as strong as Kartethia because this tier list is based on performance, which just isn't true because my wife could never be as weak as a coughing baby.
We already had so much of that happen today already.
Did I mention Kartethia is my wife yet? And don't even get me started on the Wuthering Waves tier list. Why is
Preview!
Verena stronger than Shorekeeper and Mornier? This makes no sense. She's a child who doesn't buff crit.
This is a good meme.
And doesn't have a stronger outro, which makes her useless. And don't even get me started on outros. The Prydwen tier list says Linnae is the strongest buffer in the game.
Remember, highest value, guys.
But her outro only works for Yuno and Zheng Liao, which makes her generally terrible compared to my husband Prydwen.
Who is this targeted at? Nobody's out here glazing Chuyan. Do you know what I was doing yesterday, Sweat? I was busy with people. On Sigrika poll day, do you know how many times I got asked the question, does she need Chuyan? What if you don't want to pull Chuyan? What if you don't have Chuyan? I got asked that like 30 times in the span of like 5 minutes.
Works with Sigrika, Frolova, and Galbrenna, all 3 of them being stronger than whatever the fuck Zheng Liao is doing down in tier 3, where all the losers are. Prydwen is the biggest clowns I have ever seen. They don't do any research, and their tier list isn't even based on performance anymore, which makes no sense to me. I am really unhappy with this tier list update, and I will now keep posting about my Kartethia body pillows if you are interested. Like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you.
Nah, this is the perfect way to go about it, Sweat. Just start clowning on them for being dipshits. That is the way to get it done. Don't even try to reason with these people. Just make fun of them. Because they can't read. That's the problem. That's what I have to do. That's why I yell at my chat every day. Because I know half of them can't read. They're unable to. It's too difficult for them. Oh, this is like your alternative. This is like your alternative meme channel. Yeah, that's why I wasn't subbed. You have 5 fucking subs, bro. What the hell? Post this on main. Bro, make this longer and post it on main. I'm not even joking. This shit is fire. This shit is fire. But yeah, that is going to be the ToA part of the tier list, at least, ladies and gentlemen. And part of it, right? Part of the reason why this one was longer was us actually going ahead and demonstrating, right? Some of the stuff, some of the findings, and actually putting it into play. So, Yep, awesome upgrade overall to the tier list. Again, you're supposed to be looking at both of these two instead of just one in isolation, but that might be a little bit too much work for the average gacha player. So that's why we make these videos to, I don't know, help you guys out. Because like sometimes you guys really do disappoint me with at least the lack of effort when it comes to reading words. Let me know what you all thought. Peace out.